Today is May 18th, and the title of today's quote is, "What you focus on expands." Every time you focus on a negative, the negative becomes more real, more alive, and more in control of you. Positive thoughts give you energy. They also overcome negative thoughts. So this quote is very similar to yesterday's quote. And often I've said, you can do a little test and think of something that bothers you and just meditate on it. Something that's negative, something discouraging, something upsetting, something that just has been bothering you about your life, someone else's life, about your temple, the movement in general. You meditate more as aspect of the movement that's really upsetting. As you meditate on it, more and more you meditate on it, what you'll notice will happen is that you'll become more and more discouraged. Because anytime you focus on negative things, it zaps your energy. There's a saying, and maybe it'll be in a quote later. What you are against takes away your energy. What you are for gives you energy. And so we all have that experience. So something which is bothering us, obviously, is something that we're against. It's just something disturbing. And what we see is that often we allow disturbing things to occupy space within our minds or consciousness. And the more frequently they occupy that space, the more disturbed, discouraged, and negative we become. So again, a lot of what I'm saying is very, very simple. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't see it to be a problem, that even simple things sometimes pass over our heads. We just don't notice how we're being affected. And I see that people so often allow themselves to become negative. And then the consequences of being negative is that they lose energy and they become discouraged. And they don't realize how they're doing this to themselves. Or they don't think they can think any other way. So it's unfortunate. So we've talked before about how we can choose better attitudes. So understanding the ramifications of being negative or focusing on negative and how debilitating it is, then we should be a little bit inspired, I think. To be a little more control. And even to force ourselves to be somewhat positive, even if we have to force ourselves. I've sometimes had to do things which were very negative. At least for me, I was resistant to do them. And then I would pretend to be enthusiastic. So, I can't wait to do this. This is like my favorite activity. Yeah, let's do it. And funny thing is that by generating some artificial enthusiasm, I actually started to feel what seemed to be some genuine enthusiasm, or at least it reduced the lethargy and reduced the fear associated with doing that activity. So sometimes we just have to force ourselves to be positive. And I know some devotees that doesn't make sense or doesn't feel right. But especially if you tend to be negative, I think it's really helpful to force yourself, pretend, smile even if you don't feel like it. Be energetic even if you're not. Try to be inspired even if you're not, because it'll help you. And if your nature is to be a bit negative or a bit depressed and so on, and you don't do anything, that nature just will overcome you. And you'll just tend to focus on negative things. And as I said, if you focus on negative things, things become more negative. So there's this downward spiral. I'm negative, I focus on negative things, it makes me more negative. And I focus on more negative things, makes me more negative. And I think negative is just normal. So that's the problem. Hare Krishna.